Smith. I am a scholar and an enthusiast of Japanese RPGs. I've played every single one that exists. I've studied these games extensively. I've written entire books about their themes and their ideas. Final Fantasy VI was my favorite game of all time. It was. For a very long time, that game was not eclipsed. It was not surpassed. It was my favorite game ever. And now I look at my 30-year-old cartridge and want to throw it in my toilet, because Expedition 33 was so much better than any JRPG I've ever played. I think that the French have proven themselves to be better Japanese RPG developers than the actual Japanese, because Expedition 33, with its unique combat system and its incredible engaging story that surpasses everything that's ever been told in any fictional media ever, like Expedition 33 is by far the best Japanese role-playing game ever. And having finished the game, done every single side quest, 100% completionist, like, this has now surpassed Final Fantasy VI as the greatest game ever made. And it really needs to be said, that anybody who says otherwise is a casual. Anyone who says otherwise is a Nintendo fan. Anybody who says otherwise is stuck in the past and can't look to the glorious future in which the French dominate the video game industry. Like, even the French government are releasing statements about how great Expedition 33 is. Ubisoft is going to take over the world. Like, Expedition 33 is one example as to just how great the French are at producing video games. This game far surpasses anything that's ever been produced ever in Japan. It's better than Dragon Quest. It's better than Suikoden. It's better than Shin Megami Tensei. It's better than Persona. It's better than Tactics Ogre. It's better than Disgaea. It's better than Rune Factory. It's better than Paper Mario. It's better than Fire Emblem. And it is better than every single Final Fantasy ever produced. Final Fantasy, which any real JRPG fan would tell you is the cream of the crop when it comes to the genre and actually invented the concept, has been surpassed by this French game made by French people. The Japanese RPGs have now become French RPGs because we are no longer going to compare other RPGs to Final Fantasy VI. We are going to compare them to Expedition 33 because this is a game that will be played 100 years from now. This is a game that is going to be seen as the best of the decade. This is a game that we talked about and played for years, because so many people like myself who have spent thousands of hours playing JRPGs over the years know and understand just how great this game actually is and just how it surpasses everything else the Japanese have been able to do in this specific genre. Of course, Western RPGs are and always have been better than JRPGs in every way, shape, and form. And, there is no disputing that. Final Fantasy VI, as much as I love it, is objectively inferior to games like Starfield or Skyrim or the like. Those games are just so expansive and they just have such huge budgets, and like you can spend endless amount of times like wandering around those empty fields. There's just no competing with that. The Japanese have been failing to compete with Western RPGs for honestly forever. Ever since, they are honestly just ripoffs of the far superior Ultima games. But now, outside of the American sphere, we also now have the French entering the ring, and the Japanese just can't compete. Now, I'm a huge fan of Japanese RPGs. I love them. Final Fantasy VI until just recently was my favorite game of all time. But like, it really needs to be said that like they really cannot compete in any way, shape, or form. The Japanese format is tired. It's boring. I don't want to play these turn-based RPGs with their random encounters and their poor visuals and just their emphasis on anime-inspired storytelling. I want to be in a realistic Western setting with realistically rendered characters with plots that just cater to my specific tastes. We do need like more women in these games. We do need more diversity in skin color. And we do need these games to emphasize our unique values instead of some island nation that nobody cares about or respects. Like Expedition 33 is going to be the beginning of a glorious future in which Japanese RPGs are supplanted and removed and replaced by real RPGs, our RPGs, people who actually have role playing in their games. Now I love Final Fantasy. It's like it was my favorite game of all time, but now it really needs to be said just how outclassed they are and just how they're going to get outperformed over and over and over again by these French people. It's really amazing to see. As a huge enthusiast and scholar and of Japanese media, I have to acknowledge just the superiority of the West and just how Expedition 33 has paved the way for a glorious future for real RPGs that feel just like a D&D campaign or Dune or any other like superior piece of Western media. Like the Japanese just can't compete. They can't stay relevant. And Expedition 33 is one such example as to why. And only one example. There are many games in the pipeline that are just like it, coming from Westerners, coming from the Brits, coming from the Frenchies, because the diversity that are coming into these countries from all over the world is expanding their development portfolios and producing something truly spectacular. Expedition 33 is better than any JRPG that has ever been produced.